Hey, what's up gamers, and welcome back to Warrior's Den for another installment of Player One. So today I'm going to be kicking off a series of top 5 lists I'm going to be doing. So these top 5 lists, they're going to be about each video game console generation I've owned since I was a kid up until now. So I'm going to be making my top 5 personal favorite games for each console. So it's going to start with Nintendo 64 and go straight through PlayStation 4. I'm not going to do PlayStation 5 because that just recently came out, so I can't make a top 5 list for that yet. But yeah, so I'm going to start off Nintendo 64 here in today's video. And before I get started and kick it off to this video, I just want to put out there real quick. So these lists are going to be based on games that I played and finished. So if you see some games missing that maybe you think, whoa, why isn't that Nintendo 64 game on there? Why isn't that Xbox 360 game on there? It's probably because I never played it or never finished it. So just remember, this list is my own personal preference based off both games that I finished, played fully and finished, and also games that kind of hold a special nostalgic place in my heart. So that does go into these lists as well. So yeah, just remember, this is my own personal preference. I'm sure there's gonna be some disagreements, those of you watching, with my lists, but too bad. I make my lists, I make my lists. So yeah, kick off this series with my top 5 Nintendo 64 games list. I got the Nintendo 64 way back in 1998 for Christmas, and that's where it all started for me. That was my first ever gaming console. I think I had played on an SNES before I got the N64, but as far as having an actual console and playing it as my own, Nintendo 64 was my very first one. So yeah, get it started and enjoy the video.
So, coming in at number 5, I've got Pokemon Stadium. This really just was a great game full of some great Pokemon action, and really, as far as I can remember, the first game where it really kind of put you in what I would say the driver's seat of being a Pokemon trainer. You know, you really had to pick and choose your Pokemon for each battle, strategize with it, and know when to place certain Pokemon within the battle. And I think that was great fun for me. I know as a kid, being as into Pokemon as I was as a kid, I know that was fun to kind of feel like a Pokemon trainer back then. And yeah, going off of that, you know, it had some great modes in this game to choose from. You know, you had simple just battle modes where you just pick up and play either against computer or with some friends. And then they had the mode where you kind of had to work your way up as being a Pokemon Master. I can't quite remember the name of that mode, but those of you who played know what I'm talking about. We had that mode where I think there were, I want to say there were like 8 different levels. You had to work your way up each, battling your way to the top to be the Pokemon Master. And can't forget the mini games. That was another great mode. I think that's an underrated mode in this game. And I don't know about some of you out there who play this game, but for me, I feel like I spent most of my time in this game actually playing the mini games. There were some great mini games in this. For me personally, with this game, I can recall some many great memories in elementary school, coming home and after school, doing my homework, of course, first. Well, most of the time. But yeah, doing my homework and then sitting down and picking up the controller and playing this game a lot. This was usually, I'd say, probably was my go-to after school, after homework game. And that's why, for me, just personally, I have some great memories with this game. And that's a big reason why I decided to put Pokemon Stadium here at number 5. Now, number 4 got Super Smash Bros. Some of you might think maybe this is too low to put, but the game's coming up. I think you should understand why I've got this where I've got it. Yeah, the OG Smash game, though. It's another one chock full of memories that I have. Of course, I mean, looking back at games like on the N64 and such, a lot of them are going to be based a lot on nostalgia, which of course makes sense. But for this game, I have a lot of memories. I can remember playing it in the extended care after school program I used to be in. It was just a lot of fun to play, pick up and play, and not to toot my own horn, but I was kind of a Smash master back in the day. I haven't played it much of the new games nowadays, but I feel like I could still pick it up and pick right up where I left off. But yeah, I used to be pretty dang good at this game, if that means anything. But me personally, I feel like this, you know, in some ways this could be considered like the OG Battle Royale game. I know it doesn't have quite the same concept, but I feel like you could look at it and say maybe it laid some of the groundwork for such a mode as Battle Royale, and really I could say it set the precedent for multiplayer games to come. This was really a kind of a groundbreaking game. We saw a lot of great Nintendo characters come together in this game, franchises from around such as, you know, Zelda, Mario, Donkey Kong, Kirby. Saw them come together in this game and duke it out with some of your favorite Nintendo franchises. And of course, can't overlook the sort of adventure mode they had there, where you go through different challenges and end up facing Master Hand at the end. That was always fun, and just overall, just a great game. It was a great start to what's become a fantastic series. So Super Smash Bros. At number 4. Now, number 3, Super Mario 64. I mean, come on, can't have a top 5 Nintendo 64 game list without having this one on here, right? So this was the first 3D Mario platformer and really changed the game going forward. I mean, not just for Mario, but I feel like for platformers in general, this really changed the game going forward for video games, and just kind of setting a precedent, which I feel like a lot of these Nintendo 64 games, I feel like really did set precedents for games to come in the future. This game was full of some fun, imaginative levels with some great and challenging design to them, something different on each level, and going through collecting stars at each different level within each area was great. It always had something different. It had some great boss fights within the game. You had King Bob-omb, you had the King Thwomp, a lot more. But if we're talking about boss fights here, you can't ignore the epic Bowser fights we had. I mean, this was a long way from the days of trying to get past Bowser on the bridge and pushing a button and dropping him in the lava. This was you're taking him head on and fighting him face on, and had to grab his tail and launch him into one of those bomb things, which of course was rather annoying, but at times, because it could be hard. One thing I'd say about this game is the camera work in this game. Having gone back and played it, I mean, maybe as a kid I didn't really recognize, but having gone back and played it as an adult in the remake recently on the Switch, the camera work was kind of shoddy. But other than that, it was a great game. And the one thing about this game, though, I'd say is, you look back at it, all that trouble, Mario going through all that trouble just for a simple kiss on the nose and a cake. I mean, come on, Princess Peach, you can do better than that. So yeah, Super Mario 64, number 3. Now at number 2, Donkey Kong 64. Man, oh man, the memories I have with this one. First off, before I really go into talking about this game, I have to say I feel like this game is just criminally underrated. I mean, I don't get why this game, when I look at like other people's lists of top games throughout history, this game's never really on anyone's list, and I don't really understand it, because maybe it's just me, but to me, this was an absolutely amazing game, and it's one that really deserves and needs a remaster or even a direct sequel. I mean, if we get a remaster this game, that would just be awesome. I get the whole, I guess, I don't know, the copyright thing, studio thing, if I'm correct, Rare Studios, I mean, I don't think they really exist anymore, but if they do, I'm pretty sure they're owned by Microsoft, so I get that's kind of hard to work around, but I feel like they've got to figure out a way to make it work, because this game needs at least a sequel, if not a remaster. This game, just like I said, just absolutely amazing. I have some amazing memories with this game, both happy and angry. This game did tap into the slight rage I had as a kid, and I may have broken a controller or two over this game, but we don't need to talk about that. Yeah, some of the absolute best boss fights in any game, even to this day, were found within this game. I just feel like the overall story, the gameplay, everything was just great. I mean, there's a reason why it's not number 1, which we'll get into, you'll see, but I could easily put this at number 1, and even at number 1, right at the top of my all-time favorite video games. As I mentioned, some of the best boss fights that I can still remember to this day, especially the final one with King K. Rool, the whole boxing match with every character. That was really creative and a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed that. So yeah, like I said, this game to me is just super underrated, and I feel like needs more attention than it gets. So Donkey Kong 64 coming in at number 2. Now, before we get to number 1, I do have some honorable mentions to list off real quick. So first up, I got Mario Party 2. This one really had some of the best mini-games in the series of Mario Party games, and really for me, I haven't really ever gotten too into Mario Party games, but But this one, number 2, Mario Party 2, I feel like really is the only one I've really ever truly got into. I don't know what it is, but I do enjoy the Mario Party games, but outside of Mario Party 2, I haven't really gotten into any of them. But like I said, this had some of the best mini games and some of the best maps, I feel like, too, and it was a lot of fun. Now, the next honorable mention goes to Kirby the Crystal Shards. This is another game I feel like is just super underrated. It's a game that's got a great adventure and some fun gameplay. Some fun mini games in it as well to play with friends and whatnot on here. And yeah, I've never really been too much of a Kirby fan. I haven't really ever gone into Kirby games. But this one I just enjoyed playing. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, Kirby and the Crystal Shards and Mario Party 2 as my 2 honorable mentions that just barely missed the top 5. Which brings us to number 1. And yes, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Boy, I could talk about this game forever, so I will try to keep this as short as I can. No promises, though. What else is there to say? This is the OG game that, for me, as I've mentioned before, The Legend of Zelda is my number 1 favorite video game franchise, and it's all because of this game right here. This created my Hylian obsession. This was really a truly groundbreaking game that really paved the way for the future of gaming, I feel like. For its time, I feel like the graphics were just amazing for its time. Just the gameplay overall, different, weapons and items to choose between that depended on which temple or area you were in. And speaking of temples, to this day, The Legend of Zelda, The Legend of Zelda is known for its temples and its puzzles, and to this day, Ocarina of Time still, I feel like, is the golden standard. I don't think any game really has come close to matching the temples that we had in this game. Maybe you could say Skyward Sword has some great temples. I know it's not really a well-received game, but some of their temples were good. Twilight Princess has some good temples, but Ocarina of Time really set the standard, I feel like, for not only for Legend of Zelda games, but for gaming in general after this game. Now, going on the temples, of course, the temples and puzzles, all of them are great except the Water Temple, but I won't get into that. But the Water Temple holds a special place of just dislike in my heart. I won't use the word hate, it's a strong word, but the Water Temple and I just don't get along. But yeah, just this game, absolutely amazing story, amazing gameplay, beautiful, wonderful music. I feel like to this day, this game has the best music out of any game in history, really. It set the standard for a soundtrack for video games. It had the most intense and amazing final boss fight. This game had super fun boss fights all throughout, but just coming to the end, Ganondorf. The whole last level, working your way through Ganondorf's tower, the whole thing was really a boss fight in itself. But then, you get to the top of the tower and you battle Ganondorf. Who would have thought that boss fight that revolved around basically a tennis match would be so much fun? But man, it really was. It can get intense there, and it was quite the game of back and forth. And then, you defeat him. Hey, you find out you're not done. Then you got to race down the tower as it's collapsing. And you find out then you got to face Ganon, but face Ganondorf in his true form in the Dark Beast Ganon. And boy, let me tell you, as a kid, that final boss there, that was intimidating. That was slightly terrifying, but boy, was it fun. That's a boss fight I would never forget. And it was just loads of fun and was a great way to end an amazing game. And this is the game, too, that really created the headache that became the Zelda timeline, because it branched off afterwards into 2 different timelines, only to find out later on that there were really 3 timelines it's branched off of, where you had the child timeline, the adult timeline, then the timeline, oh yeah, let's throw in the timeline where, hey, you lost again and you died. So that was a fun little throw in there, but just overall, this game, it's an understatement to say it became a cult classic, and that's what it is. To this day, I feel like it still is a gold standard for gaming, for Legend of Zelda, and just gaming in general. And yeah, it's a game I could pick up and just play through over and over again, even to this day. So, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time coming in at number 1 for my top 5 Nintendo 64 games. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and kind of shared in reminiscing some of the nostalgia I had going through some of these games, and I may have to dust off my Nintendo 64 and jump back into some of these games. So yeah, Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and share, hit the subscribe button, and Player One logging off.